What with this? Later on this month, on the 21st, on the undercard of Alexis Rocha's next fight with Santillán.
Roxanna Verduzco.
Otherwise known as Roxanna Verduzco. Otherwise known as Right Hook Roxy. The young daughter of Coach G, Gloria, who has taken Yokasta Valle under her wing and helped to greatly improve that fighter, that champion. She's going to be making her professional debut. And some time ago, I think it was in 2021, I could have sworn that she already made it. I could have sworn she already made her pro debut.
I thought
Roxy has some amateur experience, some amateur bouts, and some semi-pro bouts, but it appears that this is her inaugural fight, her official pro debut. BoxRec has her registered as an orthodox fighter, but she's actually a southpaw. What do you think they call her Right Hook Roxy? She's got a quality right hook like Rhiannon Dixon has a quality right hook. Rhiannon Dixon, a southpaw, a young one like Right Hook Roxy is a southpaw. And like Rhiannon Dixon, she campaigns at or around 135 pounds. That's lightweight. Lightweight, that's where Katie Taylor still reigns as that division's undisputed champion. So at this point in the juncture, you have to start thinking about what happens to the lightweight division beyond Katie Taylor. I mean, if Katie Taylor falters later on this year in the Chantel Cameron fight, given her age and everything she's done already, it's hard to imagine that she's going to give the sport another year, another 2-3 years, that she may be on the verge of retirement. Which is all right. She's had a storied amateur career and a storied professional career. But I don't think Katie has that much to give the sport. When she leaves, who picks up the reins? The United Kingdom's got Caroline Dubois, a spiteful southpaw, strong one, as well as Rhiannon Dixon. Two southpaws. Roxy makes three. Caroline Dubois got strength, Rhiannon Dixon's got speed. What's Roxy got? We'll find out shortly when she makes her professional debut under the Golden Boy Promotions banner. I can see how this came about. Yokasta Valle being a Golden Boy Promotions fighter, and Gloria, Coach G, being her trainer. Roxy being her daughter. You can see how this all took place, how it came about. And as stated, Roxy campaigns anywhere in between 130 and 135 pounds. Genuine opportunities there for a young unbeaten fighter within the next 3 to 5 years, because I don't anticipate that Katie Taylor's going to be around for another 3 to 5 years. 4 years now, she's bottlenecked this division. She's taken virtually everyone there is to take on at 135 and just at or around these weights. When she's gone and those titles get freed up, those titles become available for other fighters to fight for when the time comes, when Roxy is ready, when Rhiannon Dixon and Caroline Dubois are ready. I mean, that's how you have to start thinking about the lightweight division when it opens back up. Golden Boy Promotions' continued investment and interest in the sport of women's boxing in this part of the world, with the right grooming guidance. Now, Roxy's only 22 years old, and if they promote her right, she might just have some star quality, some star power. They haven't allowed the falling out with Senicia Estrada to sour them completely on promoting women fighters. They still have Marlena Esparza and Yokasta Valle. Potentially, Right Hook Roxy. If Roxy takes care of business, we'll see. It's her pro debut. We don't know who she's going to be fighting yet, though. Because it's her pro debut, you can expect a bring-along kind of opponent. A journeywoman, a gatekeeper, someone of that ilk, which is expected because this is Roxy's pro debut. It's normal. Look for the professional debut of Roxanna Verduzco on the undercard of Rocha versus Santillán later on this month. Men's heavyweight news. John Fury could only see Andy Ruiz having the courage to face Deontay Wilder, and yet reports indicate that both Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua were both on board for a fight between them, but it's the Saudis. They pulled out. He only talks up Deontay Wilder. He only glorifies Deontay to indirectly glorify his son for having fought him. The only one out there who can challenge Tyson, and they all avoid him and they won't fight him, is Deontay Wilder, Fury said to Free Bets. They're all terrified of him, and Tyson straightened him up 3 times. All those people will never get in with the Bronze Bomber. Usyk, AJ, none of them will fight him. Andy Ruiz will for a price, but he's got big, you know.
Do you see what I mean? This isn't about giving Deontay Wilder a compliment. This is about glorifying Tyson Fury for having fought him.
Because he's got big, you know what? And if the money is right and it makes good business sense, I can only see Andy Ruiz fighting him. He's the only one who comes to mind who is in that bracket. He's the only one who's going to fight Deontay Wilder because the rest are terrified. They know what's coming.
That's bullshit.
Deontay Wilder is one of these fighters that's the king of hypothetical matchups, the king of fights that don't happen in real life.
That's it.
The Furies have a knack for being disingenuous whenever they give their takes, whether it's Tyson Fury or his father, John Fury, when in reality, the reason AJ and Wilder, the reason their fight isn't happening on schedule, it's not because of anything Wilder did or anything AJ did, it's because there's been a shift in the axis of power in Saudi, and the money that they originally thought would be there for them is not there now. That's what happened.
That's it.
But of course, being the con men and the grifters that they are, if you let John Fury tell the story, it's because everybody's running scared and no one wants to fight Deontay Wilder. His way of...
So he glorifies his son.
He is only glorifying Deontay Wilder for Tyson Fury having beaten him. That's it. That's all.
What about Andy?
Well, Andy Ruiz has taken to calling out Deontay Wilder, even though he's the one who withdrew, even though he's the one who walked away, saying, nobody wants to fight, I'm staying ready.
These two were ordered to fight late last year as what was supposed to be a WBC final eliminator to crown Tyson Fury's next mandatory challenger.
But they didn't agree on the money. That's why the fight didn't happen. The money wasn't to Andy Ruiz's liking. Andy, who says, everybody's asking, when am I fighting? Ruiz said in a video posted on Instagram, when am I going to fight? Why don't I fight Wilder? Nobody wants to fight. I'm staying ready, baby. Tell Joshua let's do the trilogy. Tell Wilder I'm ready. Make me another contract. Usyk, Tyson Fury. Everybody wants to go through the shortcuts, but I'm here, baby. We're working.
Do you see what he says? Nobody wants to fight and send me another contract. What happened with the first one?
Well, I told you what happened with the first one. They were in the midst of negotiations and Andy Ruiz did not like the money. He did not like the offer, and he's the one who walked away while accusing everyone else of not wanting to fight.
Remember, there were supposed to be talks of a Fury versus Ruiz fight, a Wilder versus Ruiz fight.
And in both instances, per reports, it's Andy Ruiz that screwed the pooch, asking for too much money. And in both instances, whether it's Fury or Wilder, it's Andy Ruiz who is said to have walked away. Malik Scotch stated, Andy Ruiz did business with us the same way he attempted to do business with Tyson Fury. He priced himself out. He wants to act like he wants this fight, but it's just big name association. Fighters and their team. They hid behind the business aspect of boxing, and it's the perfect time to hide behind the business because everyone is into instant gratification. And that is what Andy did. It's frustrating, and the more and more I talk about it, the more it gets frustrating.
Andy wants big money.
Likely the same kind of money that he made fighting Anthony Joshua the second time as a defending champion. That's likely what he's looking for.
Yeah.
That kind of money isn't on the table for you. That's the reality. Yesterday's price is not today's price. So if you'd rather sit on the shelf collecting dust and fading into the background of the boxing world, it's your prerogative, though it doesn't help your situation. It's not going to get better over time, it's going to get worse.
Says a lot that the two PBC fighters, the former champions over there at the PBC, neither one of them has fought in over a year, neither Deontay Wilder or Andy Ruiz.
And talking a lot about the situation with the PBC and Showtime, how Showtime is rumored to be leaving the sport of boxing beyond this year, that things are going to change and Al's in the market for a new broadcast partner, yada, yada, yada. And I feel like the fact that neither Andy or Deontay have fought in the last 12 months, it's another indicator of that.
Not just that they haven't fought each other, but that they haven't fought at all.
You say that they may not have the money that Andy and Deontay want collectively, because Deontay's going to want a lot of money, Andy's going to want a lot of money, a bigger pot than they've got at this point.
That they just ain't got the money to spend to make the fight between them, but seems like they can't even get them keep busy fights. It seems like they can't even keep them active.
We are halfway through the month of October, leaving only November and December remaining for this calendar year, and neither Deontay Wilder or Andy Ruiz will have seen action this entire calendar year. I believe that's a byproduct of Showtime and PBC's situation. Not just the falling out between Deontay and Andy over the money, but they couldn't even keep these guys busy. They couldn't find him a ham and egger.
At Wilder's age, he's only going to get back out there for big money. But Andy is a little younger.
He's not pushing 40 like Deontay Wilder.
He's not.
And maybe he should change his decorum. Maybe they both should. I think that the people at Matchroom and DAZN would be more capable of putting Wilder in a keep busy fight and Andy in a keep busy fight. I mean, I think they have the resources to do that, at least more so than Showtime.
It's a self-inflicted wound, really, because the only guy at heavyweight who's actually on the Forbes list, he's fought 2 times already this calendar year. So these guys ain't got no excuse.
That if you haven't fought, it's because you really don't want to. You really don't want to fight. You want an arm and a leg every time you get out there, and nobody's willing to put it up because you don't generate that.
But he's in the business of losing money or giving it away.
So if the PBC cannot accommodate these fighters, if they can't so much as keep them busy, but they're not retired, maybe they should change their decorum. Maybe they should go somewhere else, somewhere where they can at least get in a keep busy fight.
Talks for Wilder versus Joshua are not completely dead. It still seems to be a fight that Eddie Hearn wants to make for next year.
If you want to shake things up and you want to get people talking, give Deontay Wilder's career a shot in the arm while he's still around. I think it would really shake things up if he decided to go into business with Matchroom for what remains of his career, if he decided to go over there for 2 to 3 fights en route to a Joshua fight. I think that would get people interested again because it would be an encouraging omen that they're serious about doing the Joshua fight because Wilder's over there now.
What about Andy?
Andy's too hard-headed. You screwed the pooch for the Fury fight. You screwed the pooch for the Wilder fight. You'd rather sit on Instagram.
Sit there blaming other people when it's you.
But it's your career. Do what you want. Downstairs at Cruiserweight, former WBO super middleweight champion Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez says, I want to be the first Mexican cruiserweight champion, eventually fight Canelo. He's still calling out Canelo, 2 divisions north of where Canelo campaigns.
That's saying anybody from 147 all the way up to cruiserweight, practically heavyweight, wants a Canelo fight.
You're telling me he's not the face of boxing? More comfortable at by far the highest weight of his career, Ramirez boxed effectively and moved more than usual on his way to a unanimously outpointing Smith in their 10-round fight at the Chelsea inside the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas, winning 9 rounds apiece on the scorecards of judges Tim Cheatham, David Sutherland, and Steve Weisfeld, enabling Ramirez to move closer to a cruiserweight title shot because their fight was a WBA elimination match. Ramirez entered the ring ranked 7th among the WBA's contenders for its cruiserweight champion, Armenia's Arsen Goulamarian. The Mexican southpaw would welcome a shot at WBC cruiserweight champion Badu Jack as well.
Last we heard, Badu Jack was making his way north of cruiserweight to bridgerweight to take on bridgerweight champion of Poland, Lukas Rozensky.
I mean, anyone, all the champions, that's what I want, Ramirez told a group of reporters after he defeated Smith. I want to be the first Mexican cruiserweight champion, and that's my goal. That's what I'm looking for. Unbeknownst to most, Zurdo Ramirez was actually the first Mexican super middleweight champion.
Now he wants to be the first cruiser.
The 32-year-old Ramirez still hasn't given up on securing the huge fight he has chased for years either. To convince Canelo Alvarez to finally fight him, Ramirez realizes it would be helpful to win a cruiserweight title so that Alvarez could challenge him to become a champion in a 5th weight class. Well, eventually, if he wants to fight me, of course, Ramirez said. 2 Mexicans in the ring.
All this talk of Canelo going to cruiserweight started at the World Boxing Council's convention 2 conventions ago, I believe it was, where Lunga Makabu, then WBC cruiserweight champion, was in attendance.
Alvarez talked late in 2021 and early 2022 about moving up to cruiserweight to challenge Lunga Makabu, but Jack knocked out the hard-hitting southpaw from South Africa in the 12th round of their February 26th bout in Diriyah, Saudi Arabia. Canelo Alvarez He eventually went on to lose to Dmitry Bivol at light heavyweight, effectively nixing any idea, any serious talk of going all the way up to cruiserweight.
There were some preliminary rumblings about Canelo going up there for Badu Jack now that he was champion, but they couldn't come to an agreement on the weight.
There was talk of a catchweight, I believe it was, and Jack wasn't for it. A catchweight or a rehydration clause, whatever it was. And people often paint the picture that Canelo Alvarez is trying to weaken a fighter by bringing them down, but isn't Jack trying to weaken him by bringing him up? Canelo's not a cruiserweight. He doesn't have a cruiserweight's frame.
This isn't a one-size-fits-all situation. Jack has approximately 6 or 7 fights as a cruiserweight. He's been up there for a little over 3 years.
He's acclimatized. In that situation, Canelo Alvarez wouldn't have been. Thus, there was actually a precedence for them to meet in the middle, for them to meet at a catch weight.
And don't forget that Jack's the one that called Canelo Alvarez out. Jack's the one who pitched that idea. He's the one who got the ball rolling.
Based on the fight between Canelo and Lunga that never actually happened, it doesn't matter, didn't take place, those talks fizzled out. Now Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez aspires to get Canelo in the ring, and he feels securing a world title can help get him there.
This past weekend's fight with Joe Smith Jr. was a WBA eliminator that would bring the winner closer to an Arsene Goulamarian. Arsene is said to have signed the boxer on Sky Sports.
Based on what I saw from Zurdo in the Joe Smith Jr. fight, Joe Smith Jr.'s power and aggressiveness, it seemed to have been getting to Zurdo Ramirez, who looked soft in the body,
Showed a good chin.
showed more movement than he normally does. With Malik Scotch in his corner, I think he's trying to mold him into more of a boxer and less of a puncher. Quite right. He won't win many fights through mere strength of arms as a cruiserweight. The guys up there, they're just as big, if not bigger, and stronger than he is. He was always big at 168 and 175, but at cruiser,
You're not going to be out muscling guys at cruiser. You're not going to be pushing everybody around.
now experimenting with a new base style. In previous fights, previous instances, Zurdo has been a mid-range to inside pressure guy, volume puncher, an aggressive one. Now, he's got to move more, he's got to box more, use angles.
Can't just stand in front of these guys winging shots.
Arsene Goulamarian, he's a mauler, he's a brawler. If you want a mid-range to inside fight, he'll give you one.
Zurdo's got a box.
Can't say I was blown away with what I saw this past Saturday, but you gotta start somewhere, right?
Right. And this is the start.